The Magpies coach, Nathan Buckley, is in the starters' hands. He's about to join us.
The last couple of weeks I think we've been really competitive, but not for the whole game, so we've got to try and bring it the whole game, and I've no doubt if we do, we can come away with the 4 points.
I've played enough games against Carlton to be in pretty big build-ups the first time we played them. This year you probably can't get a bigger build-up than that one. The first time Buck and Nick went head-to-head and things like that. So I'm just looking forward to getting out there in front of hopefully 80, 90,000 and having a red-hot crack.
Well, there's Bryce Gibbs and Scott Pendlebury, and as the master of the slip of the tongue, Shorey, can I just offer some unsolicited advice to Scott Pendlebury? I would suggest he should go with Mick and Bucks rather than Buck and Mick.
I think you use the Christian name and the surname in both names. How would that go?
He probably will learn from that one.
Close.
Let's talk to the Magpies coach, Nathan Buckley, is always generous with his time on the program. Welcome to you, Bucks, Tuesday, and everybody's looking forward to the match you're playing in a few days' time. Welcome.
Yes, thanks, guys. And you wouldn't want to put a word out of place, would we?
No. Trust me, with the Gold Coast, it happens to us all, Bucks. So everybody is on constant vigilance, as you know. How quickly do you move on from what was obviously a really disappointing loss before you get on with the business of beating the Blues?
Yeah, well, pretty quickly. We went through a normal review process, and it's a disappointing loss in one way because we'd like to perform better, but I think due respect's been given to Port Adelaide and what they've been able to achieve in a short space of time and the type of footy that they're playing right now. They're now above us on the ladder. The 5 sides that have beaten us are above us on the ladder, so we need to play better footy against the sides that are up the top of the table if we want to contend.
Nobody gives any coach an alibi, but people in the media like myself, you look at it, and I look for reasons, and you got 2. I reckon you had the bye. You could well have been ambushed in the bye because subconsciously a lot of sides have come off the bye poorly, and also you have got a lot of injuries out. How do you deal with the element of knowing these facts but not letting them become a crutch for the players?
Well, I think it's largely irrelevant. Like, we've got really high expectations and standards, as do our supporters and the public. I mean, Collingwood has been a successful club for a long period of time, and there's pressure that comes with that. And being a big club, there's pressure that comes with that. But the way that you fix that is week by week is performing to the best of your ability. Now, our 22 has shifted in size and shape and personnel at various times over the last 14 weeks, and we've performed well at times, and at other times we haven't. We performed poorly against Port Adelaide. We weren't able to sustain our pressure on them, and they ran away in the last quarter. So we need to be better than that. Our young players that played will learn from that, and our leaders that didn't stand up on the night will get the opportunity on Friday.
Ruzi spoke about effort on the couch last night, and I noticed that you had the same message. I think it was in the Age of the Herald Sun this morning. I read your message to the players. How do you get the players to own that lack of performance?
Oh, I think that's a program. It's an ongoing process. We're one of the things that I believe is going to be important for the future of the club is to develop the depth of leadership at the footy club, and we're seeing we're starting to see the turnover of a list that has been in place for a long period of time. With Ben Johnson, Alan Didak haven't been fully available this season. Darren Jolly's sort of been in and out a little bit. We've got some players that have been mainstays of the side and really been experienced that we've lent on for a long period of time that are now no longer at the club or sort of coming towards the end. So that middle tier of leaders is expected to stand up and take the mantle. Maxi's been a fantastic leader. Scott Pender is a great player in developing his leadership. We've missed Dane Beams. We got Luke Moore back, which was fantastic, and he's really only in his first 4 or 5 weeks of getting back into action. And Harry O'Brien's been fantastic for us. So there's our leadership, and they take ownership for their performance and the team's performance. And I suppose the challenge of that is when you back up after a loss.
Bucks, I think one of the issues, Travis Cloke, the reliance on him as a key forward has been really massive this year. In point that I think in 2012 the percentage time you went was 29%. Now it's 43%. And I just used Buddy Franklin as example. It was 40% for them last year, and Ruffy played most games, missed a few, and now it's down to 31, and Ruffy's gone to 20. There's other players. They've probably got 3 or 4 others they go to with Gunston also. How do you relate to what's happening in the forward line? I think I heard that you said that Quinton Lynch might have been carrying an injury for a month or so, but you do need more targets up there. Who are the likely targets that might happen in the next month or so?
Yeah, well, like most sides, we play with 6 forwards, Shorey, so there's more than one bloke up there. I think we went to Clokey 6 times out of 38 entries on the weekend, so I think that's less than, it's around 15%, so that's a lot lower than the 42. Were we, was that what hurt us? Should we have gone to him more? Now, in the end, it's your forwards either benefit or are victims of midfield ball movement more often than not. When we move the ball cleanly and quickly, we were able to get one-on-ones. We didn't win many one-on-ones in our forward 50, but we were able to get them. And against any defence, that's really what you're trying to do. Clokey's had his ups and downs this year. He's played some good footy, and he's played some that he'd like to improve on. Lynchy's been a bit flat for us. He has been battling his body for the last 5 or 6 weeks, but we're better than that. We need to get more from our forwards in general. We've got a lot of small forwards that can't impact aerially, but we need them to be hunting at ground level, which we can improve in.
I was asked a couple of weeks about leading teams. As you know, I implemented it when you were captain, and Scotty Burns and yourself drove a lot of that. In hindsight, the one thing I always said, the feedback of leading teams I loved. It was honest, it was upfront, and a lot of people mightn't have, coped, or a few mightn't have coped with it, but that's what it is. It's working through that sort of thing. In hindsight, the one thing that stands out was this signing off the equal standing of the whole group, as in input. I believe in hindsight now, I heard that it doesn't work because you've got 6 to 8 young kids trying to make their way, and you've got 6 or 8 senior players who have done it a certain way and are coming to the end of their career and can feel a bit selfish at times about it. Do you relate or think about that now? And this is only in hindsight from me implementing it at the club. Have you seen issues with that at all?
Well, I think you also, what you're detailing, sure, is that I've got Ray McLean now and through leading teams, and you had Ray McLean then. So you're talking about 15 years of experience, more greater experience in the industry for leading teams than when they first came in. I'm sure if they were doing things the same as they were back then, as any club or industry or business is doing the same things they were doing 15 years ago, they've fallen behind. So I think the systems and processes are a little bit more refined. I think there's no doubting the effectiveness of them when you look at at the moment the 3 clubs that 4 that leading teams are working with are Sydney, Fremantle, they've worked with Geelong, they're working with Hawthorn again, and with us. So I think there's obviously the proof's in the pudding in that regard. We feel like we embrace everyone's individuality and the different circumstances that they are in within their career, whether they're young or old, because all you're really doing is selling a method and a pathway, a value system that you believe is going to give you the best chance of producing great individuals, great humans, great people that are going to become great footballers as well. So it's a fairly holistic view, and it's more than a 6-month fix.
Can I ask you about Heath Shaw? Bucks, I don't want to ask Uncle Tony.
Ask his uncle.
He did ask me too.
I asked Uncle Tony, but he was mute for the first time in about 10 years.
I said he's going all right.
He's going all right, and I think that's the point. We've got high standards for Heath Shaw because he set high standards for himself, but he just seems to have been allowing a few little bits of ill discipline into his game in the last month or so. I think people are reading far more into it than they need to. He's been fantastic. In the last 4 to 6 weeks, his application to his footy and to the club and to the young blokes within it and within the team, and his leadership has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. When we see the broadcasters focus on him,
and he's wearing his heart on his sleeve, and he's pointing his fingers, and he'd be a very good traffic cop heater. But in the end, what he's trying to do is find a better way and to be able to communicate the plans that we've put in place to others. Now, leadership comes with the responsibility to lead by example, and Heater's been fantastic in that regard, but he's also trying to develop the other side of it, and he's coming along well.
You want to talk about finals, but would you think that at the end of this, and you said it's nearly the change of an era, you'll probably have a greater amount of experience changes on your list than even in your first year, of course, that would have happened. But could this be a biggest turnover the club's seen in nearly a decade in that area of experienced types?
Yeah, there was a fair bit lost. I suppose the last sort of big exodus was myself and Jimmy Clement, and Bernie went 1 year later. Paul Licuri wasn't far away, Shane Wakeland. I think there was about 1,000, 1,200 games that went out of the club there in either one year or two in a row. We had a fairly large exodus out of 10 and 11. In particular, out of 11, probably Leon Davis and Lee Brown were the two most experienced ones that sort of moved on. But Simon Prestigiacomo as well. But I think in the end, what we've got is we have got a good core of medium, of middle-aged players. Dane Beams, Sidebottom, Pendlebury, Reid and Brown down one end, Clokey down the other end. We've got still Ball, who's still got a lot of football in him. O'Brien's still got a lot of football in him. We've got Sidebottom, Blair, if I haven't mentioned them already. We've got a core group of players there that are developing their leadership and working out what it feels like now to be the guys that are going to be relied upon week in, week out, and through the week. And we're still developing that, and we've got a lot of youth there that's coming through and learning how we want to play. And we'd love to be playing better. We would love to be 13 and zip, but we've won 8 games. We've lost 5, and we come up against a real challenge with Carlton this week.
As always, Bucks, very generous with your time, and I'm sure all the Collingwood fans that will be listening to 3RW tonight would be really appreciative of how open and honest and forthright you've been. Good luck Friday. It's a big one. You can put 3 games space between yourself and at least 2 of the challenges, or you can have yourselves right back in the ruck. Good luck.
Yeah, it's a massive one. Thanks, Jared.
Good night, mate.